It is now less than a week until votes are counted in the US presidential election. With all polls indicating a very tight race, it's expected to come down to turnout. And which campaign does a better job of turning out their base, which will determine whether Donald Trump returns to the White House or Kamala Harris wins. So, with Democrats and Republicans fighting to win over the few remaining undecided voters, there's little room for error. Trump revved up his base last weekend at a rally in New York, which critics slammed as divisive, including a speaker who described the US territory of Puerto Rico as an island of garbage. The remark angered many in the Latino community, which could make a difference in battleground states like Pennsylvania. And yesterday, it was Harris's turn to fire up supporters. She chose to speak at the same spot in Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump addressed an angry mob during the January 6th attack on the Capitol building. The vice president pledged a different vision of the future than the one offered by her opponent.
America, we know what Donald Trump has in mind. More chaos, more division, and policies that help those at the very top and hurt everyone else. I offer a different path, and I ask for your vote. Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table, and I pledge to be a president for all Americans.
But that message by Kamala Harris of unity was undermined by fellow Democrats as she jumped in to replace President Joe Biden. Speaking to Latino supporters, Biden defended the people of Puerto Rico and used the word garbage himself to refer to Trump supporters who attended the controversial rally. Hours later, Harris sought to walk back Biden's language.
They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Listen, I think that, first of all, he clarified his comments, but let me be clear, I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for.
Now, this spat is reminiscent of an incident in 2016 when then Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton referred to Trump supporters as deplorables. Her comments were perceived as elitist and dismissive and didn't help her win over voters, despite Harris's efforts to distance herself from Biden's remarks. For many Trump supporters, the damage is done.
Well, I believe everything basically that President Biden says is garbage himself, as well as Kamala Harris. And I mean that with a straight face. I mean, what he's trying to implement the past 4 years with inflation, the border crisis, foreign affairs is a mess.
This is a Hillary Clinton deplorables moment of this campaign. That the Americans people are better than this. Don't know why this campaign feels they need to go so negative against the entire population. At this point, even the polls say that half of America has sold up. Our president needs to have America like this. We're not garbage. We're not trash. We are the American people.
And speaking at a rival rally also in North Carolina, Republican candidate Donald Trump seized on the remarks as an opportunity to accuse Harris and her team of hating Americans.
Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. And they mean it. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just can't. And you can't be president if you hate the American people. And there's a lot of hatred there.
For more, let's bring in DW Washington correspondent Benjamin Alvarez Gruber. Benjamin, it's good to see you. How have Biden's remarks gone down among Democrats and among voters?
So there have, of course, been many reactions, and also Kamala Harris was asked about that comment earlier today. And after saying that Biden clarified his comments, there was a tweet that was sent out on the Joe Biden X account. She also stressed, and I quote, "I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for." And she was also asked if she spoke to Biden about these comments, and well, she said that he called her this topic did not come up. But there is a lot of damage control going on. The White House Deputy Press Secretary tweeted out the transcript of this interview. Many also Democrats are coming out now saying that there's an apostrophe or that he was misquoted, that he meant something else. And even Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz also tried to turn the attention back to Trump on some interviews that he gave today, CBS and also ABC. They're so dynamic times, only a few couple of days left for election night. And so an apostrophe in a transcript might not be enough to actually convince voters. And for many, this might have been just another reason to be actually grateful that it's Kamala Harris and not Joe Biden on the Democratic ticket.
What about the timing of this incident? Is there enough time to rectify any damage that might have been done?
So some are saying that having to address Biden's comment is definitely not what the Harris campaign wanted to do only a couple of days out. Others see this as an opportunity for her to distance herself from Biden, also leading up also to this feeling that Kamala Harris is not distancing herself and that she has no answer to the question what she would make different to to an administration of President Biden here. But it's not just the timing of these words only a couple of days ago, but also that they're leading to steal Kamala Harris's spotlight, and it's so difficult also to clarify those remarks because yesterday Donald Trump brought Florida Senator Marco Rubio on stage in Pennsylvania. He immediately brought this up, and of course several Republicans are trying to seize this comment, comparing it to remarks by Hillary Clinton in 2016 when she said that half of Donald Trump's supporters fall into, and I quote, a basket of deplorables. A lot can happen in these last days before the election, but if we look at the polls and we look at the current situation, even small political twists can be amplified and have huge consequences where no damage control by politicians, by the party or by a campaign might be enough also to lead the interests of people also to other topics or to what other politicians are saying.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. That's DW Washington correspondent Benjamin Alvarez Gruber.
Well, with less than a week before Americans head to the polls to elect a new president, candidates from both parties are making a final push for votes. Democratic candidate Vice President Kamala Harris and former President and Republican nominee Donald Trump have been campaigning in key swing states. Both candidates have accused each other of sowing division as Election Day, November the 5th, quickly approaches. DW's Aya Ibrahim reports.
Two candidates, two campaigns, two different visions for the future of the United States.
For the past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth. With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It belongs to you.
Donald Trump has spent a decade trying to keep the American people divided and afraid of each other. That is who he is. But America, I am here tonight to say that is not who we are. That is not who we are.
It was a speech that Vice President Harris's supporters lined up for hours to be able to see. Expectations of the Democratic presidential hopeful are as diverse as the crowd that showed up.
Kamala Harris being president would symbolize hope within the United States, which would then transfer to the international community.
And a country, hopefully, that will stand up to its international obligations and treaties.
I'm very concerned about reproductive rights. I really am.
Continuing an economy that actually is improving and telling the truth and using data.
I want to have freedom of voting and freedom of choice, and I want my children to have a free nation to live in.
To deliver her closing arguments, Kamala Harris chose a symbolic location. She stood at the same site where Donald Trump stood on January 6, 2021, and encouraged his supporters to, quote, fight like hell, before they marched to the U.S. Capitol. Donald Trump also chose a symbolic location for his biggest rally before the election, Madison Square Garden.
Thank you, New York. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Even before they could hear him speak, his supporters told us They could not be more convinced that Trump is the man for the top job.
If you look back at his administration, the world was a lot better place in terms of world peace and strength through peace.
We need a man. I mean, come on, man. The guy's been shot. The guy's been like a warrior. I've been shot at. I know how it is to be shot. And he's here fighting for us still. That's America, baby.
He is very good to women. He has 3 beautiful daughters. How many daughters does he got, 2?
When you have a president, you need somebody that can make executive decisions and somebody that's actually clear on how to run an economy.
I don't think he's looking to take women's rights away. And in all honesty, and even having a woman as a president, it's not going to change my views on the world.
The immigration policies that are in place now, I mean, is a non-policy. It's a view that we don't have borders. This is more of an invasion rather than any kind of immigration.
But with most polls showing the race too close to call, it is still unclear which candidate will be able to convince most Americans on November 5th.
Well, for more, let's bring in US policy analyst Liz Schuelke in Baltimore. Welcome to you, Liz. US voters have been targeted relentlessly with ads, interviews, podcasts, rallies and door knocking. I wonder how many people are really undecided at this point.
I was reading an article recently that said from the very beginning, most campaigns are fighting over about 5% of the electorate. I was looking at some polling today, and the numbers are really slim. It looks like 6 to 8% still claim they're undecided in Pennsylvania, and even smaller margins in other key swing states, Michigan and Wisconsin. So this has always been a fight over a small sliver of undecideds and then just getting your bases out.
There's a new CNN poll, one of the many, shows Kamala Harris leading over Trump in key states. Some you mentioned, Wisconsin and Michigan. The candidates are tied in Pennsylvania. Some pollsters are saying this is so close it could be decided on election day, so to speak. Is that how you read it?
I was with y'all 4 years ago when I was speaking with you guys for a week almost. I would be very surprised if it was called on election day. There has been some changes since 2020. For example, I believe I read that Pennsylvania is counting early ballots already, which was a huge part of the holdup last time. But I think it will be so close. It's going to come down to tens of thousands of votes in just a couple states. So to make sure that that's absolutely accurate will probably take a couple days.
Nate Silver and his 538 polling group famously misread the Trump movement in 2016. I wonder, Liz, do you think polling methods have been fine-tuned enough to give more of an accurate picture of voting behaviour, particularly the Trump voters?
I was just reading an interview with Nate Silver today because this is my question. Is polling better, or are people so rattled from 2016? The polling has incorrectly called the 2022 and 2020 races and some off-year races. And Nate Silver, in this interview I just read today, said about 5% of folks answer the phone for polls and they're weird. So there is just a skew in polling. It's an outdated way to reach voters. It's not great to reach younger voters, and the people who answer polls are very motivated. So I would be thrilled to see if in the next couple of cycles polling really works on fixing some of these weaknesses to get more accurate polls.
So beyond the polling, Liz, and beyond the voting, some ballots are being read and counted and already challenged. Drop-off boxes are being set on fire. How confident are you that election day will be peaceful and the results accepted?
I think election day will be peaceful. I think they're working very hard. I would be heartbroken if it wasn't. However, Trump has already started tweeting about cheating in Pennsylvania. And so I think it will be a hard pill to swallow, whichever side wins. And I think if Trump loses, there has been indications, and I hope that they are just bluster and not actual action, that he would contest the votes, either or fight by following suits or trying to get the House to not certify the election. So I am positive both sides have lawyered up to an unprecedented level, and Harris's team is ready for some pushback should she come out in the next couple of days after Election Day as the winner.
Great to get your thoughts in the run-up to the election, Liz. Thank you so much. US policy analyst Liz Schuelke.
This week, we've been looking at what people around the world think about the US election and what the vote means for them. Today, we're focusing on Africa's most populous country, Nigeria. Many Nigerians are looking across the Atlantic and forming their own opinions about who should be the next US president. DW's Olisa Chukwuma reports from Lagos.
Afam Uga is getting set for this year's US elections. He describes himself as a graphic artist and an adventurer. Although he has friends and family in the US, he has never been there himself. Donald Trump is his hero. Afam has already spent more than 200 euros on things like this.
As for me, I'm going to vote in spirit. I'll support him spiritually with prayers. Trump is going to win this election, and I'm seeing him in the White House in a couple of months to come as the president of America.
Afam is convinced a Trump presidency will benefit Nigeria's economy, and he doesn't mind that Trump has been insulting about Africa in the past.
It's just reality. I like people that tell you to your face, this is what you are, you change. You understand me? If you say country in Africa, is he really lying to us? People are taking our money away. Let people to suffer in penury here.
In markets around Lagos, books by Donald Trump are among the best sellers.
I sell books almost every day. His book, I sold it almost every day. I two copies, 3 copies in a day. When you read his book and you apply it, you will make it in life.
In a deeply religious country like Nigeria, is also Trump's conservative agenda, including how they assume he stands on gay rights, that appeals to people.
He believes in God. I don't know. That's my opinion. He believes in God. And anybody who believes in God is someone for me.
We need him. He's the best thing that will happen to the world now. Because when he entered there, you know what to do, you know the right thing to do to bring the world together, to bring peace to the world and make everywhere to be okay.
The popular columnist Inedi Ogaziechi cannot understand her fellow Nigerians' love for Trump. She would love to see a President Kamala Harris as an inspiration for young women in her country.
If she becomes the first American female president, that's beyond every other economic, political, or spiritual powers that America wields, would send profound political and economic message to the rest of the world.
Afam is determined to show his devotion to Trump. This poster is heading for his office. Anyone doing business with him will know who his idol is. He also plans to visit the US.